Thanks for watching Afternoon Live. Okay, here's a tricky question. Should you argue with your partner in front of your kids? Today we're getting tips on managing conflict in a healthy way with the authors of Too Tired to Fight, counselors Erin and Stephen Mitchell. Thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, happy to be here.
I love the perspective that you have on how parenting changes your relationship as a couple and navigating that. And you guys experienced it too as parents who kind of were looking around for resources to help yourselves out.
That's right. I think when, we both have advanced degrees in psychology, and we were like, we're going to be great at being parents and relating and communicating well. And then we had kids, and really we struggled in ways that we didn't think we would. We looked for help and resources, and we didn't find ones that we thought matched kind of who we were and what we thought would be helpful. And so we said, you know what? We're going to create the resources that we wish we had. So
I love you have the academic perspective and also your own lived experience where you can really relate. I mean, the title alone, Too Tired to Fight. I think all parents immediately are like, yes, I understand.
Yes.
We just want to rest. So let's talk about why and how becoming a parent changes ourselves and our relationship so much, and a lot of people don't expect that big change.
Right. So, and even when couples do, right? So I think we knew there would be big changes. I knew there would be big changes, but I didn't. There's sort of this philosophy of nothing's going to prepare you except your own children preparing you. Your friends can say it, you can know it, but the intensity changes when it's your kid and it's your conflict and you're changing, and every day is such a different day than the day before. The stress matters, lack of sleep matters. We lose our ability to actually communicate what it is we want to be saying, and so we're fighting. We have these dead-end conflicts. We have all sorts of situations that put us in the disconnection stacking up.
So tell me about this idea of conflict can actually lead to connection if you can navigate it correctly, which is kind of the strategies that you lay out in your book.
Yeah, I think so many times we often think that conflict or having disagreements is something that's very negative. But our perspective is that when a couple runs into conflict, all they're doing is trying to communicate to one another that something is important. And so if partners can understand how to intentionally express what they're saying, their experience, and their other partner can intentionally listen, what can happen is these areas of difference and disagreement can actually lead to connection and understanding. And so a couple comes to a disagreement, and the end result is they're like, whoa, we worked through that together. That actually helped our relationship feel stronger. Rather than creating more disconnection.
You do feel that for sure. Coming out the other side, you feel like you've navigated something, you've conquered it together. You guys have narrowed down 13 of the essential conflicts that a lot of parents and partners come to you with. What are some of the most common complaints that you hear from couples?
Yeah, so one of them is I'm carrying the mental load conflict.
It's a big one. Another one is the my life has changed and yours hasn't conflict.
Or I hate your family conflict.
Oh my gosh.
Some of these are really, really personal and really important conflicts, and they are universal.
We definitely try to take input from the couples we see in our work couple to couple, but definitely it's our personal experience as well. But we've tried to narrow them down, and so like there's one like how to make a big decision conflict. We use the example in the book about someone choosing to go back to work after having a kid, but that's true if we're talking about moving or taking a promotion, or should we live closer to your family or mine. Like we try to make them so they can apply to a lot of scenarios, even though we aren't labeling them one thing.
Sure, everybody can relate to those big moments in life that you have to figure out somehow how to navigate through together. Tell me about some early signs of unhealthy conflict, things we should be aware of in our own homes.
Yeah, I think one of the things we talk to couples about is if you find yourself saying, you know what, I just don't want to say anything about it. That's going to cause too big of a problem. I'll just keep that to myself. That usually is a sign like, there's something stuck in the communication pattern. And that usually, if you're not able to say something, that usually can lead to resentment down the road.
I think sort of the flip side of that is when you are thinking about like, oh, I wish we weren't having this conversation in front of our kids. So if you wouldn't be saying it in front of your kids in a way that you would like for them to model, you should probably be thinking about how exactly you do want to be
Yeah.
saying it in a way that you would be happy for your kids to be modeling.
That's a great point. So the question of, I guess, fighting in front of your kids, fighting versus disagreeing and kind of working something out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. None of us want our kids to see us at our worst. And I think a lot of us think of conflict, we sort of confuse the word fight and conflict. And we don't want to be fighting in front of our kids. We don't want to be saying things we don't mean.
Yeah.
We don't want to be saying, fine, have it your way, and saying nothing, withdrawing.
Or being sarcastic or we're being hurtful. That's not the idea at all. But there is a way to have disagreements and to model for your kids. Like, we don't have to be the same person. Sometimes we disagree with our kids even, and we have to navigate those things and show them we can have differences. We can even maybe hurt one another's feelings unintentionally, but we can come back and repair. And that idea of engaging in that way and in a way where there's repair, that actually is connective and helps us feel close. We can work through anything together, is the feeling that comes from that.
And very understandably, we don't have those skills naturally. And even if we did have them before kids, it's a very different context now. We don't talk to any couples that say we're really struggling in a vacuum with no extra input, with extra sleep, and like communication struggles because we're tired and because there's literally people between us or on us, and it's hard. It's really complicated, and we do need to learn this in a new way, no matter how great your communication was before kids. It's different now.
Well, I love your perspective, and I'm happy you got to share it with us today. Thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Of course, the book again is Too Tired to Fight. We'll have more information on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.